All right, we are live. Hello, everyone, and a warm welcome to everyone watching. This is the Indie Football Podcast, and this is Eurovisions with me, where we will take a comprehensive look throughout the course of this Euro tournament, and we'll be talking about different scenarios as and when the competition gets closer, and as and when the competition begins. We have a lot more in store for you guys, so do watch this space. Yesterday, we started off with a comprehensive build up to the tournament by talking about the groups of this Euros. And yesterday, we did the preview for Group A, where we spoke about the host Germany and the other teams in the group, namely Hungary, Switzerland, and Scotland. And we had a couple of our lovely guests from the IFP family themselves who gave in their 2 cents on that matter. Today, I have two new faces with us on this panel. I have Priyanshu with me and I have Piyush with me. So, Piyush, Priyanshu, first of all, very warm welcome to both of you. I hope you are doing well.
Absolutely, why just buzzing for since the Euros are around and the Copa America is around. It's a great footballing summer which is about to follow us, and can't wait for it to start. To be honest.
All right, I am totally with you on this. Priyanshu, before we start and before we, get into the nitty gritties of all of it, let me make my allegiances clear. I am an England fan, and just like every other tournament, I hope that this time it finally comes home. Although I'll not be saying it out loudly for fear of it backfiring on me spectacularly before the tournament even starts. So before I start, I want to know which of the teams that you both gentlemen are rooting for. I'll start with you, Priyanshu.
Previously I was quite stuck with Portugal, but since then I have been following three teams closely. Two of them are Spain and France. France quite lately, as of 2018, since they won the World Cup from that year, and also it has one of my favorite players in it, Griezmann. So I've been following them since then. And Spain, as in, since you support a Spanish club, since I support Atleti, so Spain comes naturally to me. And Portugal, obviously, there are various reasons, but one of the main reasons is Cristiano Ronaldo.
All right. And Piyush, what about you? Which team do you support and which team are you rooting for in this Euros?
I mean, obviously, there's a soft spot for Portugal because there's a soft spot for Ronaldo in there. But a team I'm really excited to look forward to is Germany because the resources that they have on offer and the manager that they have, the potential both of them combined possess is something I'm really looking forward to. कल रात को नहीं हुआ भले ही with Ukraine, they just ended with a draw, but I just hope that does not happen in this tournament. Nagelsmann gets it right with the combination and with the results.
All right. So Priyanshu, with a host of teams that he's looking forward to, Portugal, Spain being two of them, and Skara, aka Piyush. So just in case, guys, Skara is a reference to the famous cartoon Super Strikers. Just in case you don't know, but to tug on to the nostalgic heartstrings of that favorite cartoon show of mine. So that's a great pickup. So obviously we've spoken about Group A yesterday, and today we'll be speaking about Group B, which a lot of the people are calling the Group of Death. Now, let's talk about a little bit about the teams in the group. Obviously, the group contains current defending champions Italy, 2008 and 2012 Euro champions Spain, and then you have perennial overachievers in the form of Croatia, and then you have the rank outsiders for some, lucky underdogs for others, the Albanians. These are the four teams. So, all right, I want to know. I'll put this out to Piyush. Looking at the groups, what is the first impression that comes into your mind when you look at these four teams, and where do your thoughts wind up? Like straight up, looking at the group, your first view. What was your first views about the group?
So when I saw this group, I was like, इस group की जो तीन group of death वाली teams है, उनसे एक पूरी team बनाई जा सकती है. Like if you put Italy's defense, you put Croatia's midfield, and you have potentially Spain's forwards, it becomes almost an unstoppable combination. But having said that, एक तरफ mind was definitely clear. Sorry, Albania, you're not making it through. I know they have like very talented players. The likes of Aslani is there, Broja is there, who might be in for a redemption arc. We do not know. He's on the way, as we know. Chelsea is looking to sell him, so probably he might look to like increase his value in this Euros. Also, I don't know if Strakosha is playing, but yeah, there are quite a few players in Albania, but I don't see them making it through. The rest of the three, it's going to be very, very tough. It's going to be like a rassakasi, tug of war of sorts, of who makes it through to the round of 16. It's very tough.
All right. I mean, you spoke about Albania. Let us start by speaking about a little bit about Albania. You pointed out the likes of Armando Broja and even Strakosha for that matter. And yes, Strakosha is part of that squad. The other players that are there, one is Jimitsi, and the other one who I am looking forward to is his side, the fullback, another
Yeah,
fullback
it's
who
he's right.
yeah. So these are the players that do you think now, obviously, for every underdogs who are not given much of a chance, Priyanshu, let's get this to you. For every underdog that is not being given a chance, you always have the likes of a Morocco type of a story, or you go back to Italy themselves, who were not given much of a chance in the previous Euros to win the Euros altogether, and they ended up winning the entire tournament. And then obviously everyone knows the Costa Rica story in 2014. So for every time an underdog is not given a chance, football has given us so many examples in the previous editions that you cannot take an underdog lightly in a tournament setting. So do you think that this Albanian side has the quality to upset the apple cart by putting out a few plucky results here and there and getting that third spot, or can go and achieve even better? Do you believe that this Albanian side has the capability to do that, or is it one step too many for the Albanian side?
This is where I get quite a lot of mixed feelings in this, because this is something that it's quite, it can get quite confusing at times, because Albania has that quality in them. They have quite a lot of individual brilliance in their team, but individual brilliance apart, you need the entire team to step up on a particular day if you want to create an upset in a group which contains the likes of Italy, Spain, and Germany, who
Croatia.
are yeah, sorry, beg your
Croatia.
pardon, Croatia, yeah, Croatia. So I definitely think that they can be the surprise package this term, because if you see the track record of Italy, especially after their Euros 2020 win, they have gone down to teams like North Macedonia, not degrading them by any chance, but when you compare the quality of both the teams, you definitely have to see that North Macedonia were not the favorites, to make it to the next round, wherein Portugal was awaiting the winner of that game. So they did that, and Italy has had quite very patchy sort of run since that Euros win. Obviously, they parted ways with their head coach, who is now obviously coaching the Saudi Arabian national football team. They haven't been settled since that Euros win, and I feel that I might get bashed a bit, but I think that if they are to there is to be a dark horse story, then it will be at the cost of Italy missing out on the knockout spot if it has to
I
be
know there are some
in Italy.
frowning faces in the IFP family already.
Yeah,
As
I
as
remembered one of them. I remembered one of them
as
while talking.
let me tell you guys one thing. As an England fan, मेरे कलेजे को जो ठंडक पड़ेगी जो इटली एलिमिनेट हो जाएगी in this Euros. All right,
Oh,
so it is going to be great. So I mean, we have quite a few people who are speaking about this group. So we have Jehan who's there. So Jehan, first of all, welcome to the stream. So he says Spain and Italy, two of the most constructive teams in this tournament, and coincidentally they are in the same group. It's going to be a cracker. Absolutely. This group is definitely that one group to watch out for throughout the course of this tournament, because you know that there are going to be some really tasty fixtures right up there. And he also says a little bit about Croatia, who will play the defensive role once when they score one or two goals. He sees them winning against Italy, but then again, it's a little bit on the difficult side. All right. So
yeah.
there are people who are not exactly rating Albania, tries to play spoil sport. Albania can make them drop points by drawing, and you can't really rule any team out. Yeah, that's a very crucial caveat here. The United Road, it's a channel of a close friend of mine. He does YouTube content only and solely regarding United, and I think he will be doing a little bit of the Euros as well. So go ahead and check his page out. It goes by the name of the United Road. So do go ahead and give him a like, share, and a subscribe at the same time. So we've spoken a little bit about Albania. I would like to know if there is one player that catches your fancy. Is there any player, or do you think that anything that Albania do throughout the course of this tournament, it is going to be a concerted team effort?
You would like to
See, I
like
think
me to go first? Okay.
yes, sir,
No,
Angelo,
go
you
ahead.
can
Go
go
ahead.
first.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go
Okay,
ahead,
thank
Piyush,
you.
push. Yeah.
So I think in all of the departments there is at least one standout player for Albania. जैसे आपके पास attack में Broha है. Then you have someone like an Aslani who has the inter cred to himself. Then you have someone like a Jim Sethi who has won a European Championship now with Atalanta. And then
Yeah.
there's obviously a player like Strakosha who is obviously attributed with a lot of potential and something like that. So it is quite similar to the Morocco story जहाँ पर उनके पास भी एक ऐसा standout player था and the rest of them just basked in their glow and showed up a great performance in the World Cup. Chances are things might happen, but that is a very minute chance in my opinion. And if I were to like look towards a standout player, it has to be Broja. I think for the potential that he has and why Chelsea have brought him up and why a lot of teams are looking at him as a potential option in the summer, he should prove why he's that good. And I believe he is that good.
Okay. So a fun fact, a little bit of trivia regarding Albania. So Albania's current head coach is Silvino, who's played for Arsenal before, and a former Albanian player who, until now, has the honor of scoring the only goal that Albania have scored in the Euros. Armando Sadiku recently played in the ISL.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are two interesting facts that I came across when it comes to Albania. I think let's talk about the next team in the group. We'll speak about Croatia now. Obviously, when it comes to Croatia, we all know that they have genuine international tournament pedigree when it comes to it. Third place finishers in the previous edition of the World Cup, beaten finalists in the 2018 World Cup, and almost caused Spain a massive upset in the 2021 Euros themselves before falling away in extra time. It'll not be amiss to say that Croatia are the dad army in this edition's Euros because of the sheer age factor that comes into play. You have Modric who's 38, you have Kovacic who's 30, you have the likes of Domagoj Vida who's 35, Ivan Perisic who's into his late 30s. You have a lot of players who are on the wrong side of their 30s. But again, it comes down to the fact that Croatia remains one of the most experienced, battle-hardened, and like the tried and tested kind of people. And again, the one thing that is a huge factor is the continuity that is there in terms of their head coach. Zlatko Dalic is going to be their coach for another major tournament that gives them a sense of continuity. So Priyanshu, when you look at the makeup of this Croatian squad, obviously you have young players like the likes of Josko Guardiol, who's once again touted to be one of the best defenders in international football at the moment. And apart from that, you have so much the wealth of experience that is there in and around this side. There is always a chance that you cannot count out Croatia in any stage when it comes to international tournaments. Do you think that this is that? So for all the talk about the great international performance in the World Cups, they've been surprisingly under par when it comes to Euro performances. As we've seen, they lost out to Croatia to Spain in the round of 16 in the previous Euros, and didn't do much when it came to the 2016 Euros as well. So do you think that this could finally be that tournament where they break that jinx and finally go into the latter stages of a Euro? Something which this golden generation has not exactly been able to crack open, especially when it comes to European football.
I definitely think everyone has been talking about various other top sides, and when you talk about Croatia, you can not rule them out at any cost, because they have some experienced lads in their team, but they also have got some brilliant players in the form of Pasalic. Pasalic is there. They have got Kramaric, who has been the underdog kind of player in the Bundesliga, wherein you see people talk a lot about Harry Kane's, Lewandowski's, but they hardly talk about Andre Kramaric, because season after season he has been producing the goals for, if I'm not wrong, it's TSG Hoffenheim, his
Yeah.
club in
Yeah.
Bundesliga. Yeah, so he has been producing goals for them season after season, and people have been discarding him. But I think we are, when we are talking about upsets, I think if Croatia goes on and wins the Euros, I think you can call it another sort of an upset, because no one is rating them at the moment, because everyone is telling that yaar chalo quarterfinals पहुंच जाएंगे, बहुत बड़ी बात है, semis at the max. But winning the Euros is definitely something which no one is predicting, and they definitely have got the team, they have the experience in that team. It's like the CSK team, from 2018, I guess, if I'm not wrong, the Daddy's Army,
Dad army.
the Daddy's Army, yeah. So people are not rating them, and if they go on and win the Euros, I think that is going to be an upset by the standards of the ratings that everyone is giving them out.
All right. So obviously we are looking at Croatia. If there is one player that you guys think is going to be an X factor, who do you think it's going to be, and why is it Luka Modric?
See, I wasn't planning on taking Luka's name, but yeah, definitely उसका नाम लेने का जरूरत नहीं है भाई. He is one
He's
of the key
he's
factors.
he's the dad
उसको
among
छोड़, yeah,
he's the dad
yeah.
among all the dads.
He
He's a
he
super dad.
he holds
I
the,
mean, they
yeah.
just have to go past the group stage, and then he'll be like, यहाँ से मैं संभाल लूंगा, मेरे अंडर खेल लेना, ठीक है, यहाँ से मैं
Yeah.
तुमको कंट्रोल करेगा. And Croatia
Yeah.
would they just need to have this go
He
across this
he
initial hurdle.
Everyone talks about N'Golo Kante having that energy sapping battery inside him, of continuously running through the 90s, but no one ever rates the work in that Modric
Luka
puts,
Modric, yes,
because
absolutely.
he can play 120 minutes of any tournament that comprises of a knockout until the finals, and he won't be substituted also by Dalic, because Dalic knows that that he has got
गालियां
it
थोड़ी
in
खानी है
him.
उसने,
हाँ
मुंह
वही.
दिखाना घर जाके.
So
with
he knows.
all due respect, Modric is Eastern European, so the stamina gene is always inbuilt in the
Yeah,
likes of the
that's
Eastern Europeans. These
Exactly,
guys
exactly.
these guys do sprints for the whole 120 minutes, so that's fine.
And doing it at the age of 38 is
Yeah,
something
it's
which is really commendable.
absolutely. And I think
Yeah.
it also helps that, he was used in that way in Real Madrid, so that he comes in this tournament comparatively fresher, because in the latter stages of the La Liga, he was always used as a substitute, wherein he used to come in for the last 20 or 25 minutes and then, put in all his energy in that way. So I think that gives him enough freshness in his legs, because after all, at the end of the day, he is 38 years old, and again, Dalic has to manage his minutes very, very carefully. If, like how Piyush said, if he is to lead them towards the latter stages, and if Croatia wants to make another deep run at another major tournament. So I definitely believe that Modric holds the key. But another one who I am looking forward is, I think they call this guy the next Luka Modric. I'm not really sure. I don't know how you pronounce his name.
Is it
but
Lovro Mayer you're talking about?
I'm not really sure. I just need to have a look. Give me a moment. I'm not able to get his second.
We can always check the Croatia squad for the Euros.
Oh yeah, it's Martin Baturina.
Oh.
So Martin Baturina, he's one of those guys that people are calling the next Luka Modric, and that is one player. And obviously, it goes without saying that Josko Gvardiol will obviously be one under the spotlight, under the bright lights for me as well. So that is one for definitely. So Priyanshu, you have a fan, and he says that your knowledge of Croatia is excellent. So kudos to that. And Luka Modric getting young every year, I think, there's somehow these Real Madrid veterans have found the secret to reverse aging, and they are just hiding it from the rest of the world with that. So let's go to the next team, and this team are the defending champions, Italy. But for me personally, entering this tournament, I don't really get that aura of the defending champions from this Italy side. Like there is a lot of things that could potentially go very, very wrong for them, or there are those very things that could potentially make it a masterstroke in the sense that this team could potentially sweep any opposition that is on their way, and go ahead and repeat the win that they had. Very heavy, Rehan. Every inch of my body is in pain when I speak about Italy. The scars of 2021 are still fresh in my heart and my mind.
Absolutely.
I can replay that entire final like it is yesterday. So please, it's better we don't talk about that. I think we'll talk about
It
that.
is too dramatic to bring back those memories. Those
Coming,
memories are just too dramatic.
especially coming from an England fan. Yes, I bet it's traumatic. I bet it's traumatic. So let's. They have a new coach. Mancini is being replaced by Luciano Spalletti, and while they have some really really good players in them, they have some really good young players. The thing is that these players have not exactly gelled together the way Spalletti wants them to. All right, no doubting about the quality that this side possesses. Do you think that the disjointed nature of the squad, like there are some really good players out there? You have the likes of Donnarumma, you have Vicario, you have Provedel. These keepers have had great seasons in their respective leagues. Then you have some really young players coming out, in the sense there is Federico Di Marco, you have Bastoni in there, you have Calafiori, who's had an excellent season with Bologna. Then you have Locatelli is not in the squad.
He's not in the squad.
Actually,
Yeah.
Locatelli
Yeah.
for some reason is not in the squad. Then there is Fratesi. Fagioli finds himself a place in the squad despite the betting ban that has been there or thereabouts in the background. They have some really good players out there. But Piyush, do you think that is this tournament coming a little bit too soon for Spalletti's Italy? Like, I think there's not been enough time for Spalletti to build this team into his own image in the way that he wants them to play. But do you believe that Italy still have just about enough quality for them? Because again, Acerbi is out due to injury. Scalvini,
Yeah,
again,
Scalvini is
very
out.
another player who I was personally looking forward to. They both are out, so that's two key defenders gone out. So again, injuries at the wrong time. Locatelli was not picked. So there are some squad questions that linger around this side as they enter into this tournament as defending champions. Do you think they have enough to make a sustained run again, or do you think that this time, I think it's a step too soon for this Italian team?
I think Delwyn bhai, the problem, not a problem. I think a challenge for not just Italy but both of the takers for this group, Spain and Italy, is the problem of combination. De La Fuente and Spalletti are going to have similar headaches over the next month or so because they have too much quality to feed. For every position, from goalkeeper to the striker, in both cases, in Spain and Italy, they have at least two options. There is Vicario fighting neck to neck with Donnarumma. There is Retegui fighting neck to neck with Scamacca. There is
Yeah.
Pellegrini and the likes of Cristante fighting neck to neck with the likes of Jorginho and Barella. I was personally hoping that Spalletti goes for a three at the back, and that would sail smooth for Italy because they have the centre back credibility to do the same. But since they have injuries, Spalletti would resort to a four at the back, and I am not too sure how that would work out because he has not utilized the talent he had. I was really looking forward to seeing the likes of Bongiorno a bit more, seeing the likes of Calafiori, as you mentioned, a bit more, but he has not utilized them as much. Similarly, the problem arises who are going to be a front three, who sits out, because all of them are equally talented. So I think Italy and Spain have a similar sort of a horoscope in this tournament, in my opinion. For Italy, either they're going to falter within the quarters or they're going to make it the long way.
All right.
Similarly, I think Croatia and Italy, in that sense, मेरे दिमाग में यही है कि they are either going to falter at the quarters or they're going to play the big game and they're just going to sail through. Final में जो होगा, that is a different thing. But yeah.
Priyanshu, Piyush spoke a bit about Spalletti not using these players a lot. Do you think that it is a lack of familiarity with these players, or do you think that there is a genuine lack of trust on from the manager's part, that thinking that these players are not exactly cut out for the philosophy or the style of football that he wants to imbibe on that particular team? So where do you stand on this? Do you think that is option A, that he's still getting to terms to know these players inside out and whether or not they're a good fit? Or do you think that he's plain distrustful of the fact that okay, these players are not it, I'll need the rest to impart my style of football. So what do you think about this?
See again, I would like to agree with what Piyush mentioned. He hasn't had enough time to gel in with the players, to be really honest, because at the very top level, you just cannot come in and start giving results until and unless you have got that experience in your squad, which Spalletti unfortunately doesn't have, because they do not have Kileni and Bonucci playing anymore for them. So even with the likes of Bastoni having been there for a long time, still they if you call a player who is just 3 to 4 years into his Italian career of playing for the national team as your most experienced lad, or they have got Jorginho in their squad, but still then again you need to have a host of them, not just one or two will do the things for you. So I think somewhere down the line he hasn't had enough time to know the players completely in and out, although he has worked with some of them during his tenure at Napoli. I think he has worked with what
Di
is his name?
Lorenzo.
Yeah, Di
Di Lorenzo.
Lorenzo. Di Lorenzo. I have the Azori squad in front of me, so that I don't mispronounce any of the names. He has worked with Merit also. So I think one of the main headaches that Spalletti and Italy will have going into the Euros is their goalkeeper selection, because I see one of them might miss out, because they have got four. They have gone with four in this list, but I think one of them will miss out, and it will be most probably will be Provodel. So I see Donnarumma, Meret, and Vicario making it to Germany. And I personally felt I have had discussed with this thing with one of our IFP members also in the past, who happens to be an Italy fan, whom I'm fearing at this moment quite a lot. We came upon Vicario as one of the best bets for Italy to start this Euros, because Donnarumma has been very shaky. People have to accept this, because since the Euros 2020, even he has been facing a lot of things. Firstly, leaving Milan, going to PSG, the Milan fans not welcoming him.
That's where the downfall happened, my friend.
Yeah,
That's where the
exactly.
downfall happened.
Exactly. And Vicario on the other hand has been a great shot stopper for Tottenham Hotspur. So I somewhere down the line feel that Vicario should be the Italy number one going into this Euros.
I also feel that Vicario is a little bit more vocal
Yeah.
compared to Donnarumma. The one thing that I'm really surprised when it comes to Donnarumma's overall keeping ability, despite his massive frame
Yeah,
and his
exactly.
huge height, he's surprisingly very circumspect when it comes to claiming crosses. I don't understand why, because he can easily tower over the rest of the players and gather the ball very, very comfortably if he chooses to. But then for some reason he gets very conflicted, and I
Yeah.
think more often than not that results in the downfall of him and the defense. It's a
He
wonder, yeah. It's a wonder how he
yeah.
managed to scam that Euros for
Actually,
Italy.
Delwyn bhai, what I think the case is, there is a serious lack of command, because since he's playing at PSG, if he comes in to claim across and gets it all wrong, there is a Marquinhos ready to bark at him. So he is already fearful of the fact. Probably this lack of command uh, is crept into his national team game as well for some reason. I don't know why it is. And I agree with Priyanshu bhai in the sense that Vicario should start because of it, and your point as well that he's a bit more commanding. He comes out for crosses, he comes out for 1v1s, and he's very good at them. So I think that is where Donnarumma lacks as of now.
I I,
No,
I,
I
I, I
completely
I
agree.
personally think that Donnarumma lacks that instinctive decision making thing,
Yeah,
which i-
that's
which
what
is which is
that is.
quite which is quite important for the goalkeeper, especially of the modern game. Because if you lack even a second or two and you are late on the crosses, we can definitely see what Barca did to PSG in the first leg, wherein
Yeah,
Donnarumma lapsed
very, very
twice.
circumspect.
Yeah,
Very,
he
very
lapsed twice.
circumspect.
Exactly. And Rafinha finished those things quite easily, and he flapped at the crosses, and it was because he reached there late. Had
Add
he
to the
had he been
fact,
there
yeah.
on time, yeah,
Add to the fact that he's not exactly convincing with his distribution as well.
Yeah.
Not
exactly.
very convincing. And if you look at Vicario on the other side of the spectrum. He's very, very comfortable with the ball at his feet. And I think that was one of the most crucial factors in Tottenham making the decision that Vicario was the keeper for them. And I think he's more than sufficiently proven that as well. And personally, I agree with both of you saying that Vicario should be the number one. All right, getting into the nitty gritties of it, that one or the couple of players that you think are going to be a huge X factor. So let me start with this first. I have two players that come to mind. One of them is Retegui, and the other one is Riccardo Orsolini. So two players who I feel could be great X factors into this Italian side. Retegui is the only striker who's been prolific for them in national colours. Scamacca has scored just once in 15 games for Italy, and the other guy also, Ciro Immobile, I think. I'm not really sure who's the other striker. He's also not exactly been very, very convincing either. So
I think they are not taking Immobile because
Yeah, Immobile is not in this team. If I'm not
Yeah. So I think it's Orsolini. Scamacca, and
Raspadori.
Raspadori.
Raspadori,
That's
yeah.
Raspadori. Yeah. So while Raspadori is a proper Spalletti player, I don't exactly see how he's going to shoulder that goal scoring responsibility. So I think at the end of the day, that comes down to Retegui and Orsolini again, provide that width, and having a great season in Bologna colours is definitely going to help his cause as well. So those are my two players who I believe could be X factors in this Italian team. So I'd like to know, Piyush, who do you think, according to you, is going to be that X factor for Italy in this campaign?
I think the Italian defense is going to be questioned because there is a lot of youngsters in there who might get a chance, and I'm looking at two of them at this point, who are Buongiorno and Bellanova. One plays on the flank and one plays as a centre back. Buongiorno is heavily linked to a lot of clubs already as we speak. Probably Wolves and West Ham are coming in already with some bids. Apparently, they're apparently going for every single player in the Serie A, and Buongiorno is one of them. So I think both of these players can have massive impact depending on the fact how Spalletti fields his 11 again. I'm not seeing Bellanova making a start as of now, but Buongiorno clearly stands a chance in my opinion.
All right. And Priyanshu, what about you? You're muted.
Sorry, I completely forgot. I will go with the tried and tested duo of firstly Chiesa, because I think he again holds the key to Italy's attacking success for me, because he has that in him. He has that spark in him, because he can just make a run or two and ignite the entire team with that dazzling run through the defenses of the opposition. And the other player is Fratesi, because I have seen quite a lot of Fratesi. He has been on the goal scoring list for Italy as of late. So I feel that personally these two can shoulder quite a lot of the goal scoring as far as Italy is concerned for this Euros. And then there is another player which I feel can be quite important to Italy's success, and that is Scamacca, because Scamacca he has that commanding presence inside the box. He's a target man for Italy. So if Italy decide to put in those crosses, you definitely have a man who can trouble the opposition's defense with his taller height, having that leap inside him, and always being on the shoulder of the defenders. So these three, I feel you said two, but I will go with three. So
No problem.
I feel that these three attackers hold the key to Italy at at these Euros.
I mean, it pains me to see what West Ham did with Scamacca. They had such a great striker, and they were just not able to use him. Feel really bad. But then again, good for him to go back to Atalanta and rediscover his scoring form and find himself in the reckoning for the Italian squad as well. So good on him on a personal front.
So Devin bhai, I'm questioning kind of Scamacca, because the defenses he would probably face, his height advantage might not come to use that much. And it really comes down to his ability of being a facilitator to the likes of Chiesa
Exactly.
and Zaniolo.
Precisely.
Yeah,
he
can definitely hold up the play. He can definitely do that, because he has got that physicality again.
Yeah. All right. So in the midst of all this, I think we're forgetting that there is one player who could have made a massive discussion in that regard. who could have made a massive difference for this Italian team. And his presence alone could have single-handedly increased the ceiling of this Italian side. I'm talking about Sandro Tonali, who's not going to be featuring in this tournament because of the betting ban that he incurred last year, which indicates that he's going to be out for 10 months. So he's not going to start playing football up until August end or September. I'm not exactly sure when, but he's definitely not going to be part of the Euros. So do you think that Tonali's absence is a massive stumbling block for this Italian side?
Absolutely, Delwyn bhai. I think Tonali is a bit of an interesting character because he can play as a disruptor real well, but then he can just contribute to goals. You just saw him for Newcastle in the first 2 games. He was on the score sheet, providing goals and assists for fun. We thought this guy can kill the Premier League. This can just take them back to the top 4 once again. And all of a sudden, then this ban comes in. So I think it's a huge loss for Italy because he is an X-Factor player, full stop. He's the definition of an X-Factor player based on the performances that he gave for Italy as well as for his clubs. So I think Italy have lost big time on him, and currently I see the squad profile and I do not see a disruptor at all which is going to command their midfield. Locatelli क्यों नहीं लिया अभी पल्ले नहीं पड़ रहा, but yeah, I think it's a huge loss.
Yeah, I certainly feel the same way, but I do believe that the punishment that he got was justified, and I think he needs to be held accountable for his actions, which he has been. So good on that regard. So I think that is Italy's loss if you see the grander scheme of things, and maybe they could be a Tonali away from facing elimination as well, and it could come down to those fine margins as well. With that being said, let us talk about the final team in this group, the 2-time Euro winners, that is Spain. Now, when we talk about Spain, we always talk about intricate football, possession football, ball retention, ball hold up, tiki-taka, diminutive playmakers, false nine. Obviously, all these things are naturally associated with this Spain side. But once again, if you take a look at the tournaments, there is a very familiar pattern. Not a lot of goals, a hell lot of passes, but no end result to show for those passes. And it has always been the same story throughout. They've tried a lot with different managers. They had Lucho, then they had Fernando Hierro, they had Lopetegui. So they had a lot of managers who've come in and gone, and they're not exactly able to have a discernible impact or imprint on that squad. This time, although, they have gone with a very varied mix. There is a proper mix of youth and experience there. So for every experienced player that they have in the likes of Jesus Navas, Dani Carvajal, Rodri, then you have the likes of Oyarzabal, you have Joselu, Alvaro Morata, Ayoze Perez, and Ferran Torres. For all these experienced players, you always have a younger player like the likes of Kubarsi, you have Lamine Yamal, you have Fermin Lopez, you have a Bundesliga winner, Alex Grimaldo, who's finally making a start in that Spanish team. You have Robin Lenormand, who's come all the way from Real Sociedad. You have Alex Baena from Villarreal, all these guys. So there is a right mix of youth and experience out there.
Delwyn,
do you think that?
Delwyn,
yeah.
You missed one of the players. You missed one of them.
Dani Olmo.
No, I'm talking about Marcos Llorente.
Oh yeah, Marcos Llorente he's everywhere. He's everywhere, and he's epitome of the terrorist football that Atletico Madrid play. So
I can promise you, I haven't seen him playing in 2 positions as of now, and those 2 are only the centre back and goalkeeper position.
Goalkeeper, yeah.
He has chipped in even as a left back. He has chipped in as a left mid. He has chipped in as a central defensive mid, center mid, attacking mid. बंदा राइट विंग खेल चुका है, लेफ्ट विंग खेल चुका है, स्ट्राइकर खेल चुका है, स्ट्राइकर खेल के तो लिवरपूल को बाहर भी कर चुका है.
बेसिकली उसको ये सब खेलने मिलता है जब भी कोई प्लेयर एथलेटिको मैड्रिड वाले प्लेयर को आगे खेलने का परमिशन मिलता है. तो इट्स लाइक अ किड एट अ कैंडी स्टोर, बिकॉज आधे से ज्यादा बार तो दे प्ले 10-0-0. So you know how that footballing style goes. So I think that versatility that you spoke about is going to be a very huge factor for Spain's fortunes, because when you have a player who's so positionally versatile and who can play these multiple roles without hesitating at all, then we in today's footballing world, these players are very rare to find, because you have players who are proper technicians of one particular position. You don't have that flexibility nowadays. You don't have that tactical versatility, that positional awareness to play every position, which was the cornerstone of total football. And
Yeah,
and
but I
nowadays
kind of doubt that he starts though. I kind of doubt that he starts.
I think he has the potential to, if he's playing from right back. I don't exactly see Carvajal taking that starting spot, because I think De La Fuente might look to go with a fresher mindset. And although Carvajal does give them that veteran leadership, the
Yep.
stability, and the no nonsense approach that is required, I still think maybe Spain would like to try something new. So I think
I think
Llorente
I
has a
think
decent shout to start.
more than anything, I think Spain will have that pace factor in their wings, because
Hmm.
having Lamine Yamal down the wings, and you're also having Llorente, that complements really well to their prospects from playing down the wing, because they both can link up quite well, because we have seen in this in the past, wherein Trippier and Llorente had linked up quite well for Atleti in the past. So I
Yeah.
think he Llorente can definitely do that link up thing quite well down the wings.
So obviously we've spoken about the young players that they have. So Piyush, my question to you is, with the influx of young players that the Spanish squad has brought in, I
Yep.
already named in a few, with Kubarsi there, with Lamine Yamal there, with Femin Lopez in there. How important it is for De La Fuente to give them an exposure to tournament football, but at the same time not put in a lot of pressure on them, and overuse them like a bar of soap, because we seen what happened with that Pedri situation, where he was
Yep.
just playing and playing and playing and
Even
playing.
Gavi, even
Yeah,
Gavi.
but I think Pedri's example is much more suitable, because Pedri was literally
He
playing
was
every
worn out.
single.
He
Yeah,
was worn
you
out.
could literally see his eyes literally asking for help. Like, please, I need to sleep.
I could
While
imagine one day. I could imagine this was probably not shown on camera ever. एक बार वो ऐसे पिच से बाहर गया होगा और वो पड़ गया होगा और वो उठा नहीं होगा 2 घंटे फिर उसके बाद
yeah,
वो
I
Yeah,
mean,
पसर गया होगा.
that that Pedri picture from the Olympics sums it all up.
exactly.
Exactly.
It is
Exactly.
it is it is like the living embodiment. भाई नाइट शिफ्ट तो बहुत अच्छी है, कुछ नहीं होता है. And then it's Pedri's photo out
And
there.
the
Yeah.
pain just falls on the floor.
I
सबके
mean,
सामने.
yeah. So how important it is to strike that right balance. I mean, obviously these three players that I've mentioned are very, very talented players, and they have proven it throughout the course of that La Liga season for Barca. But it's always a very different kettle of fish when you're wearing your national colors and representing the country, because it is that situation where a small mistake itself is going to be scrutinized left, right, and center. And
Absolutely.
especially when it is something as big as the Euros, and a tournament that Spain themselves haven't won for the last 12 years. So how do you feel is striking that balance very, very important for De La Fuente when it comes to these young players?
I think you summed it up really well, bhai, because the most difficult job that a manager has, the most difficult job, it is De La Fuente's job. Because if you even see the squad profile, उस बंदे के बेंच पे ऐसे प्लेयर हैं जो आज की मार्केट में 60 मिलियन से नीचे नहीं बिकेंगे. You have the likes of Zubimendi and Mikel Merino and like Alex Garcia and like
Fabian Ruiz.
Fabian
Definitely.
Ruiz is there. Ferran Torres might not start because we might see the likes of Nico Williams and Yamal starting. You
Yeah.
have the cred of Carvajal and Navas and all these people. You have Kukurea, who was a 60 million player once. Obviously, so all these sort of players are there, and it becomes essentially important to strike the right balance. I see कि इधर use करना पड़ेगा wisely Pedri को. The likes of Pedri have to be used very wisely. Thank you, Anukarsh bhai, for the spot. My mic kind of does remind of the logo. But yeah, अपने midfield को बहुत सही से utilize करना पड़ेगा. Otherwise, Mendilibar in and Spain win everything. I think that would be the move to go.
I think Olympiacos owner would have a different point of view in that regard. He's just won them the Conference League.
I don't know. If I'm saying if Spain qualifies for the Olympics and does not win the Euros, Mendilibar is coming in as the manager and winning them the Olympics. This is the script I'm telling you. But jokes aside, I think the quality and the potential of and the talent that they have on hand, the Spanish national team, if De La Fuente uses them well, they have the potential of clinching it. Because there are some key players, obviously, like the likes of Rodri and maybe the likes of you can call Morata, and I think Dani Olmo thrives in a Spanish shirt whenever he plays.
Yep.
So some of these players you can build the team around, but the young players, the likes of Pedri, the likes of Kubarsi, the likes of even both the wingers, Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams, I hope that they're not overused. They utilize their resources well. They utilize someone like a Marcos Llorente or someone like a Ferran Torres who's versatile on the positions that they can play. So striking a balance would be difficult. Even I can't at this point. I tried to do that in my Road to Euro series on the shorts, but yeah, even I was not too content with that squad because the final 11 is too hard to figure out because this team just has crazy, crazy good talent. Just let's just say that.
Priyanshu, the $1 million question when it comes to the Spanish squad: do you believe Lamine Yamal is ready for that start in a tournament game when the stakes are on the line? Do you believe that Lamine Yamal is ready to make that jump to play 90 minutes in a tournament football game?
Well, I'm not quite sure that 90 minutes at this point of time, for a 16, 17-year-old lad, who has just burst up on the scene. It's been a season, but he has done well. But he has looked, patchy at times. So then again, it all comes down to how De La Fuente uses him, how much, play time he gives him, whether it is 60-30, wherein he plays him for 60, rests him for the rest of the 30 minutes, because he has other resources on that, position. So I think he is not yet ready to play the entire 90, to be very honest. But until till the time he plays, whether it is 60 minutes, 70 minutes, he can definitely create a huge impact, because he has that thing inside him wherein he can just go in and express himself to the fullest. And he has the backing of his coaches both in Barcelona, whether it was Xavi, whether it's De La Fuente. I've seen a quite of his national team games. So I think that whether he plays for the entire 90 or jitna bhi time khele banda, he will give a real impact to Spain's chances of going ahead and lifting the Euros.
So Dway says that Yamal can really emerge into the next big thing for Spanish football. Do you guys agree?
Absolutely, 1000%. At 16, if he's showing these kind of levels, imagine what he would do once Barcelona are not officially broke.
La-
I mean, I mean, there would be a time, right? 8 साल बाद, 10 साल बाद, जब वो अपने prime में पहुंच रहा होगा, when Barca would not be officially broke. So at that point, he'll be obviously one of the best players in the world. So that will be a frightening sight, obviously. Um,
But I hate to play devil's advocate here. I genuinely hate to play devil's advocate here. But this was a similar discourse that was talked about when Ansu Fati emerged onto the scene, when Ansu Fati broke through, and now we
Exactly,
all know. And now we
exactly.
all know where Ansu Fati is currently. Barely could get a sniff in at Brighton there. So I think it's very, very dangerous to get young
But then
players
the
like
point is,
that.
injuries got the better of him. Ansu Fati is a case that injuries got better of him. Lamine
Again,
Yamal is
it's
susceptible because he plays a lot of those minutes. He's getting a lot of exposure at such a young age. That is the only frightening factor.
again
But good
that
thing,
is
yeah,
that is the problem, right? We've and I give you Ansu Fati's example again. Pedri's example is another one. Two
yeah,
very highly precociously talented young players. Both of them were overworked by their clubs and
yeah,
find themselves being very injury prone, despite being what their early 20s now,
yeah.
and finding themselves constantly injured. I think again it comes down to minutes management. I think while I do believe that he can genuinely do great things, I think he needs to just be, man. He just needs to play. He needs to be carefully managed. He needs to be nurtured. He needs to be brought to speed with the physical rigors of tournament football, how to play an entire stretch of club football, with that right balance of proper muscle building, and making sure that he is well endowed in terms of diet, nutrition, and all that. So there's a lot of things that come into play when, because he's like you said, Piyush, he's just 16. He's still a boy. He's still got a lot of potential.
Is Delwyn Bai's network gone or is it just me?
Same question, but I guess it's the issue from Delvin Bhai's end.
Acha. No, actually, Priyanshu bhai, I wanted to ask this since we mentioned like about Lamine Yamal only that how he's so young and he might be like exposed to a lot of minutes and he needs to be
Exactly.
preserved. I was surprised that Jose Perez got picked and not someone like an Asensio who has the Real Madrid and PSG cred. So, what are your thoughts on it? Because Asensio, in my opinion, would have been a really good player from the bench who could just play a bit inside, and someone like a Marcos Llorente bombs down the right hand flank and adds to a lot on the Spanish tactics. So, what is your take on this?
Yeah, see, even I was frankly surprised, to see Jose Perez in the squad. I was definitely expecting Asensio, as you were expecting Asensio also, because just for the simple fact that Asensio has had a better season when compared to Jose Perez. Because to be really honest, whatever I have seen of Real Betis this season, I have seen Jose Perez come on as a substitute in quite a lot of
Yeah,
those games,
exactly.
and he hasn't got that number of minutes inside him. Also, he hasn't created the that impact whenever he has started. ऐसा भी बात
Hmm.
रहता है कि चलो बंदा जब स्टार्ट कर रहा है तब इम्पैक्ट दिखा रहा है तब तुम उसको पिक कर सकते हो, बट यहाँ पे
Yeah,
ये केस भी नहीं है. सो आई
that is a
गेस
very limited time जो आपने
या
observe किया है.
या एग्जैक्टली. सो अगेन ये वैसा केस हो जाता है पीयूष भाई की जहाँ पे there is that one pick in every team which everyone is going to question throughout the entire tournament, throughout the entire season. And I think
Yeah.
for Spain, Jose Perez is that pick. No, no degrading the player, but with all due respect, I clearly feel that also Isco also I thought had a really good chance, but then again injury problems. इसको के साथ भी वरना he had a really great season, coming back from those setbacks of coming out of Real Madrid, then again Real Betis में जाना, proving himself, winning a lot of man of the matches. So I think somewhere down the line, these two players in Marco Asensio and Isco have quite missed out on the Spain squad. So picky, questionable pick है Jose Perez का.
Hmm.
Again, yeah.
Also, bhai, since we talked about Italy's goalkeeper dilemma, I think Spain also has a dilemma of sorts because three very good goalkeepers have been selected. Alex Ramiro is not a bad shout. Neither is Unai Simon, who's been a regular starter, and David Raya is playing at the current best defense in the
Exactly.
Premier League.
Yeah, I even
So,
I wanted to come to this point because when we were talking about Italy, I had the same thing in my mind. Because you see, Raya has just won the Golden Glove with Arsenal, and he has produced some quality saves throughout the season. Unai Simon has been a constant there for Athletic Club. I think Unai Simon, the one thing that he has worked upon, especially this season, is his penalty saving thing. And I think he has saved around 3 to 4 penalties in the La Liga this season, if I'm not wrong.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
if I'm not wrong, he has saved 3 to 4 penalties in La Liga. So again, Alex Ramiro, I think out of these three, if you want to say that someone who can miss out completely has to be Alex Ramiro, simply
Yeah.
because Raya and Unai Simon बहुत ज्यादा अच्छे हैं if Ramiro अच्छा है. So बहुत ज्यादा अच्छे
That's true.
कैटेगरी में आते हैं वो दोनों. So
But then who starts? That is
yeah,
the big question. Then who
I
starts?
I will like to go with David Raya, yaar. Simply because he has worked really hard throughout the season.
Yeah.
भाई आर्सेनल के साथ इतना ग्राइंड किया बंदे ने, लास्ट में मिस आउट हो गया थोड़े के लिए ट्रॉफी वहां पे उनका,
Hmm.
बट विनिंग द गोल्डन ग्लव, मेकिंग आउट सम फैंटास्टिक सेव्स. हिज गेम अवेयरनेस, अगेन राया का गेम अवेयरनेस बहुत सॉलिड है. His commanding, inside the box, he constantly speaks to his players, which I have hardly seen Unai Simon do whenever he has played for the
Hmm.
national team also. So I think then again you can give the edge here to David Raya, but I don't think so यार डिला फुएंटे चेंज करेगा because
Yeah.
उसके टेन्योर में अब तक
मुझे भी
मैंने
ऐसा लगता
देखा
है कि
नहीं.
like tried and tested है Simon and
या सिमोन.
I somewhere feel that Simon has better shot stopping ability than Raya. I
या
might be
या
wrong, but
या
Unai Simon का shot stopping ability is better than Raya. Raya is definitely phenomenal with the ball on his feet. उसका distribution top notch है. There is no
exactly
two ways about it.
exactly.
But
Yeah.
like if you see when you're entering the latter stages of the tournament, shot stopping becomes essential. और वो परफॉर्मेंस नहीं चाहिए जो एडरसन ने किया था बेसिकली चैंपियंस लीग के फाइनल में। इतना इफी लगा था वो बंदा इंटर जैसी टीम के अगेंस्ट भी, लुकाकू सामने था उसके। आई डोंट नो हाउ दैट हैपेंड, बट लाइक
लुकाकू ने बचा लिया बंदे को, ऐसा बोलो भाई।
एंड में लुकाकू ने बचाया उसे। आई वाज लाइक भाई, सो उतना सस ना हो, बस मुझे यही डर लगता है डेविड राया का। द रेस्ट आई थिंक इट इज डेला फुएंटेस सर दर्द, भाई हमारा कुछ नहीं हुई, उसका तो हर पोजीशन पे सर दर्द है।
एग्जैक्टली, बिकॉज मेरे को अब ऐसा लग रहा है कि हमने जितना टाइम गोलकीपर पे बात किया है, अभी स्पेन के गोलकीपर जितना भी टाइम हमने बात किया है, आई एम स्टिल गेटिंग कंफ्यूज कि स्टार्ट कौन करना चाहिए। मैंने बोल तो दिया कि आई फील दैट डेविड राया शुड स्टार्ट, बट देन अगेन क्वेश्चन कम्स डाउन टू कि यार उनाई सिमोन को भी स्टार्ट करना चाहिए, क्योंकि बंदे ने वर्क किया है अपने गेम पे और भी ज्यादा। एज आई सेड, पेनल्टी सेविंग हैज बिकम रियली गुड उनाई सिमोन का। So later stages of the tournament में short stopping के साथ साथ there is also a factor of the games going into penalty shootout. तो तब उनाई सिमोन आपके पास रहना बहुत जरूरी है। And if he has played the entire game and he is there, मतलब ऐसा सिर्फ शूटआउट के लिए अंदर नहीं आ रहा है, ऐसा नहीं बोल रहा हूँ कि सिर्फ शूटआउट के लिए अंदर आएगा तो खराब करेगा, बट पूरा गेम खेल के अगर शूटआउट में है वो, तो he is there, he has felt that thing for the entire 120 minutes, वो मेंटली प्रेजेंट रहेगा
भाई। वो गोल सिर्फ वैनगाल के पास है, वैनहाल के पास वो गोल है कि वो 120 मिनट के लिए वो कीपर बदल दे, बाकी नो वन डज दैट।
या
सो आई थिंक लेट्स मूव ऑन टू दिस नेक्स्ट सेगमेंट कि वी पिक एन इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर, एंड आई थिंक इट इज गोइंग टू बी अ हेडेक फॉर अस नाउ। Which one player is that impact player for Spain? Let's start with you, bhai, only.
See, I will do a bit of Atleti bias. Please don't get me wrong, anyone in the comments. I know there are a lot of Real Madrid fans and Barca fans out there, but I
you are
personally
looking at
feel,
one. You're looking at
yeah,
one through your screen.
yeah. So I feel personally for me, goal scoring जो responsibility है, then that again becomes very crucial for a team like Spain. And goal scoring and Morata is something which people don't essentially relate quite a lot, because he is bound to miss quite a lot of chances, and then again offside position का उसका बहुत problem रहता है। But then again this season I feel that जितना भी मोराटा का दिखा है मुझे, उसमें से he has been quite productive for a team like Atleti, which I think मतलब ऐसा भी नहीं है कि हम लोग अभी बहुत डिफेंसिव खेलते हैं। We have got good chunks of goals for the past 3 to 4 seasons, but then again chances जितना भी create होता है Atleti में, I think Morata has been able to finish quite a lot of them, and that is testament of him having got 16 odd goals in the La Liga, and then again 5-6 goals in the Champions League,
Champions League as
no
well,
mean feat. Yeah, so I think then again goal scoring के लिए मोराटा बहुत important हो जाता है आपका player, and I feel somewhere down the line Nico Williams also यार, Nico Williams जो बंदा है जो खेलता है ला लीगा में, मतलब ऐसा चुम्मा भाई क्या खेलता है, crazy, मतलब इतना पेस है बंदे के अंदर, बंदा मतलब his finishing is also quite a lot good, हाँ, because in the games against Atleti उसने ये सीजन जितने भी 2-3 गोल्स मारे एटलेटी का अगेंस्ट, they have been top notch finishes, 2 तो वॉली थे उसमें से, मतलब I did not expect him to score from those positions, but it ended up scoring from those positions. So I think another player who is important is Nico Williams, and I think that he will start games for Spain. He will start games for Spain.
You talk about Morata, and I know like Atleti has not been that defensive, और पता नहीं उनके स्ट्राइकर्स हर सीजन की छोड़ के चले जाते हैं। Anyhow, I think Morata is in that niche of underrated players, like with the likes of Giroud and all that. So I think he's going to be very essential for Spain's goals in this tournament. But at the same time, I am very एक्साइटेड टू सी कि यार एक बंदा इनके पास है जिसकी 2 साल से वैल्यू 60 मिलियन से नीचे है ही नहीं, एंड दैट इज ज़ुबिमेंडी। ही इज लाइक अ टारगेट फॉर ऑल द टॉप क्लब्स। अपेरेंटली बार्सिलोना ने उसे 2 साल पहले से बुक करके रखा हुआ है, बट अब तक वो आ नहीं रहा है। यूनाइटेड इज लिंक्ड विद हिम, एवरी अदर वर्ल्ड बीटर क्लब इज लिंक्ड विद हिम, बिकॉज ही इज अपेरेंटली द बेस्ट नंबर 6 अराउंड इन द ला लीगा एंड वन ऑफ द बेस्ट इन द वर्ल्ड, but he's not utilized well in Spain. I want to see what De La Fuente does with him. Does he get overlooked with the likes of Mikel Merino standing behind in line, मतलब रॉड्री के पीछे जो खड़े हैं, क्योंकि रॉड्री तो रॉड्री है, राइट. सो एसेंशियली दिस इज जस्ट अ क्यू बिहाइंड, जिसमें मिकेल मरीनो खड़ा है, जिसमें जुबी मेंडी खड़ा है. तो इंटरेस्टिंग मैं ये देखना चाहता हूँ कि हाउ डज ही यूज दीज वेरी वेरी टैलेंटेड लैड्स. बट द वन गाय आई एम लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड टू एंड जिसकी वैल्यू हमेशा से रही है इन माई ओपिनियन, एंड ही जस्ट थ्राइव्स इन अ स्पेन शर्ट, इज Dani Olmo.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I
exactly.
think even De La Fuente likes him a lot, and he plays in that number 10. He can play out wide, on the left, on the right. He's versatile. वो बंदा एक कंडक्टर है सॉर्ट ऑफ अटैक्स का. अगर आप देखो, अगर आप उसको लाइप्जिग में देख लो, अगर आप उसको स्पेन में देख लो, ही इज जस्ट टू गुड अराउंड द बॉक्स एंड इन एंड अराउंड दो स्पेसेस. So I just hope that he gets really really well utilized in those spaces. और बस डेला फुंटे का दिमाग ना खराब हो. बाकी ये स्पेन की टीम तो मतलब बाप लेवल टीम है. मतलब there are very
See,
few teams that
there's quality all over the pitch for Spain. वही पोजिशनल हेडेक आ जाता है कि आपके
yeah,
पास एक पोजीशन पे इतने अच्छे प्लेयर्स हैं, आप किसको बिठाओगे, किसको खिलाओगे. एंड देन अगेन
exactly.
आप किसको कौन सा टाइम पे खिला रहे हो, वो सही है कि वो बंदा आपका सब्स्टिट्यूट आके आपको अच्छा इम्पैक्ट दे सकता है, कि वो स्टार्ट करके आपको अच्छा इम्पैक्ट देगा. देन अगेन दैट आल्सो
हम्म.
कम्स डाउन टू एवरीथिंग. सो आई थिंक डेला फुएंटे के ऊपर ही छोड़ते हैं भाई ये सब, क्योंकि हम जितना
क्योंकि
डिटेल
ना
में जाएंगे
टैलेंट वाइज आप देखो
उतना
ना,
हम उलझ
स्पेन
जाएंगे.
से ज्यादा खतरनाक टैलेंट आर्ग्युबली फ्रांस और इंग्लैंड के पास है. और मे भी चलो
ब्राजील,
कुछ हद तक,
ब्राजील.
मतलब इन टर्म्स में यूरोज अगर बात करूं, सिर्फ यूरोज
ओके,
यूरोज की
हाँ,
अगर बात करूं,
हाँ, हाँ,
तो
हाँ.
उतना टैलेंट आई थिंक जर्मनी के पास भी नहीं है इन टर्म्स ऑफ द डेप्थ ऑफ टैलेंट दैट यू हैव. Someone like a Zubimendi can start for a lot of teams. मतलब ये तीन, फ्रांस, स्पेन और इंग्लैंड ऐसी टीम है जो अगर अपनी बी टीम सी टीम भी बना दे, वो भी कई टीम्स के ऊपर यूरो में क्वालिफाई कर जाएंगी.
या
इतना टैलेंट और इतना
बहुत
क्रेड है.
डेप्थ, एग्जैक्टली. या
But I don't know why, like for the past few tournaments, especially this World Cup and the last Euros as well, Spain are turning into this dark horses वाला niche. जो ना मतलब स्पेन से ज्यादा कोई लोग एक्सपेक्ट नहीं कर रहे. दे आर बिट लाइक डेनमार्क. यार वाओ हो गया बिल्कुल ही, अगर इन लोगों ने
Okay,
कुछ कर
sorry
दिया तो.
guys. I'm back. It's my
Yep.
sorry for the delay. Sorry for the delay. And yeah, so like I left it behind. So like my conversation was ending towards, while Yamal can definitely be the next great thing in
Yeah.
Spanish football, I think the be all and the end all is that the Spanish Federation as well as Barca in the near future have to be very careful of him. You cannot overuse him, you cannot overwork him, and then of course he's a world beater in his own right, and he could even do greater things. So my question for you guys is, now we've
Yeah,
spoken
Delwyn bhai,
about
sorry
each.
to interrupt, but
Oh,
like
all right.
we did the impact player kind of thingy when you were like offline. So Priyanshu bhai suggested, Priyanshu bhai, can you just recall your picks?
See, I went with two players.
Oh, okay.
They were Nico Williams and Alvaro Morata.
Morata, yes.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
I've already given the reason. I will just again repeat it in short. See, Spain का goal scoring is again an issue which we had discussed पहले भी. So I think to shoulder that thing, you need Morata to be, finishing those chances. And this season he has finished quite a lot of chances. So I think उसका chances finish करना, उसका goal score करना बहुत important है स्पेन के लिए. और निको विलियम्स देन अगेन भाई, बंदे के पास sheer pace है, बंदे का finishing बहुत बढ़िया है. So I think he is the one who will start every game for Spain, and he has to start because that pace down the left hand flank is quite important, because I don't think so they have that pace down the left hand flank in one of their left backs or something somewhere down that position. So Nico Williams का
Yeah.
खेलना बहुत important हो जाता है.
Yeah.
And
So,
Piyush, for you?
yeah, I picked Zubimendi once because his transfer value is not going down in the graph. It's just at a constant since 2 years. He's been booked by God knows what world beater clubs. United has booked him. Barcelona has booked him. They want to sign him. They want to sign him. But he's never moved. And he does not move off the bench in the Spanish national team for some reason. And since he is in queue behind the likes of Mikel Merino to Rodri for that starting position, it's going to be interesting to see how he uses this very talented person. And the other one, who my true impact player suggestion is Dani Olmo, because
Oh,
he just thrives in a Spanish shirt. I love what he does with RB Leipzig and the Spanish team as well, in and around the box. He's very very fluid in his movement, and he's very active in setting up fluid attacks very quickly, and he has the
Okay.
technicality as well. So
Alright,
yeah,
so my X factors, obviously, I'll go with Zubimendi one, and the other one is like a close between two players, but I'll go with this guy. I'll go with Aymeric Laporte, because he's
yeah,
the only player who's not playing in a European setting so far. He's in the Saudi Pro League, and will he be able to?
लपोर्ट लपोर्ट है स्क्वाड में.
Yes, Aymeric Laporte is there
Laporte
in the
is
squad. Yeah, he is
लपोर्ट तो
yeah,
there.
शायद
Laporte
से
is the
नहीं
squad.
था. है.
No,
नहीं,
no, he is
Laporte is
there.
squad में.
He is there.
या ओके.
He currently is the most senior centre back in that Spanish football setup, so it will be very, very foolish
Aside
to
from
let him
Nacho,
leave him
Nacho is
out.
also there.
Yeah. So I think Laporte is going to have a huge role to play. Will he be able to make that step up from the relatively comfortable settings of Saudi football to the hustle and bustle of international tournaments will be seen. So for me,
Yeah.
it's Laporte and Zubimendi. All right, so we've spoken about the teams, we've spoken about the X Factor players. I'd like to know what you think, according to you, is going to be the game that decides this group. Like that one game where the future of all four teams are dependent on this. Because at this point, each of the three teams would definitely want to beat Albania. So they have Albania as a must win in their group stage calendar. That's for sure. But apart from their games against Albania, if there is that one game which you think is the be all and the end all of this group, what is that going to be? Priyanshu, I'll start with you.
See, whoever, as you said, that all the three teams have Albania as that must-win game. So I would, I will sit on the fence in this. I think whoever faces Albania in match day 3, which is the last group match day, I think that team is going to, be, on that verge. Because then again, had they not secured 6 points in the previous two games, which might likely be any of the games against Croatia, Spain, ले लो, या Italy, Spain, ले लो, या Italy, Croatia, ले लो आप. So I think if they are not able to secure 6 points in those two games, then the game against Albania becomes quite a crucial game and quite an important game for them. और ऐसे ही moments पे हमको देखने मिलता है those tight crunch games wherein the underdog just rises and surprises everyone. We saw that against Portugal versus Hungary का game याद आता है मेरे को फिर से 2016 World Cup में. Yeah,
the Euros 3-3.
Yeah, wherein Hungary took the lead 1-0, 1-1 हुआ, 2-1 हुआ, 2-2 हुआ, 3-2 हुआ, 3-3 हुआ. So Hungary was that team की वो ग्रुप में सबने मार्क करके रखा कि चलो इनको हराना है. So I think they proved everyone wrong. I guess they topped the group, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, it was Hungary. Hungary topped the group. Iceland finished second. Portugal finished third.
Yeah, 3 games, 3 points. So I think वही लास्ट गेम पे आ जाता है. आप जिनको बोल रहे हो कि इजी 3 पॉइंट दे देंगे, लेकिन जो टीम उनको लास्ट खेलेगा उनको पता चलेगा कि हाउ हार्ड अ team Albania will be to face when they are coming up against the consequences, when they are coming up against the pressure of points.
And Piyush bhai, what do you think is going to be the game of the group?
Bhai, I think this group it is not that easy or not that hard to predict. It is somewhere in between, but it's a tussle altogether. And I think from this group, 3 teams are progressing to the next stage because of the third place team wala rule. 4 of the 6
best third place, yes.
Yeah.
So I think 3 teams would progress in this group nonetheless. But the defining game would be Croatia versus Italy for me. Spain has too much talent and too much credit and too much quality, as we had just raved about when you were offline. So we just talked about that in excess. So I think Spain has the chance to top this group quite, I won't say quite comfortably, but they are the favorites to do so, in my opinion. But the pairings, the favorable pairings of sorts, would be decided by the game of Croatia versus Italy, in my opinion. So whoever finishes second probably gets a better pairing than the third one, and consequences will be seen after that game, I guess.
All right. And for my final segment in this Group B preview, I'd like to know what are your final group standings. I'll go with you, Piyush.
Okay. We have talked about how Italy is loved in the IFP family, right? So, sorry guys, but my predictions are.
I love this. Let's ruffle some feathers. Let's get you on the spot.
So for
It won't be
me,
easy
I
in the
think
group.
Spain. Yeah, I mean, I'm just muting notifications after this statement.
You better do.
Right.
I've already
So,
done it. I've already done it.
yeah, so I think Spain tops this group. Spain would emerge as the winners. Second would be Croatia, just because in the experience and the youth combined, I think they're a force to be reckoned with. I was about to mention a player, Stanisic, who has increased like levels of like talent and playmaking and whatnot. We've seen him at Leverkusen. I was about to mention him, but couldn't get the time to do so. That's nothing. Okay, I think Croatia finishes second and Italy finishes third, but they qualify for the next stages. तो मेरे को बिल्कुल ही completely जान से नहीं मारना group पे. Um,
And
and
Albania.
sorry,
Albania.
Albania, we finish last.
All right. Priyanshu, what is your prediction for Group B, the final standings?
See, I have already taken a lot of wild swings or wild predictions during this entirety of the show. So I will just stick to the normal things. Again, I feel Spain will top the group. I'm going to go second place for Italy. So मेरे को कुछ मत बोलना ग्रुप में. तुम्हारा टारगेट पीयूष है, मैं नहीं. So
I'm in for the
Italy,
wise भाई. मेरे को please ऐसे
Italy,
set मत करके दो. कि ठीक है
Italy,
सारे डार्ट मारे दुनिया मेरे ऊपर.
Italy second for me, and I feel Croatia third, and Croatia goes through. Sorry Albania, I have to come, to into circumspect with the reality which is in hand. So I think Albania finishes fourth, but I would also say that Albania opens their account.
All
They
right.
go away with 1 point. They go away with one
Yeah,
point.
I agree
अब वो
with
किसी
that.
के
I
against
agree
भी हो
with that.
सकता है.
All right.
किसी के against भी हो
Since,
सकता है.
since this is Piyush's first time on the stream, I'm going to be the big brother that I am. I'm going to come and protect him with my standings of this group. All right. So
ये इटली क्वालिफाई नहीं करेंगे.
let me
ये इटली
start.
qualify नहीं कर पाएंगे.
Let me start. I see Spain winning this group again. Like Piyush and Priyanshu said that there is enough quality in that side. So despite the imbalances that could potentially happen, I do see them being clear winners in the group by a considerable distance. I'm going to go Croatia second. They have, so a fun fact here: Kovacic, Brozovic, Luka Modric. Between them, that
Just
midfield,
Brozovic. Just
that midfield has 368 international appearances between them.
Damn.
That midfield three has 368 international appearances. I'm saying this two
Croatian
times
capital
because
could have their statue already together.
yeah, exactly. So that's three. So I will be foolish to not back such experience. And given the fact that they've played 4 international tournaments together, I think Modric and Brozovic have played 5, if you count the 2014 World Cup as well.
14 World Cup, yeah.
Yeah. So you have these 3 who have played 4 to 5 international tournaments together. I'm not backing against it. So that's second. I'm going to give Albania a realistic shot of finishing third in this group.
मैंने बोल दिया था भाई.
Yes, I'm going to give Albania a very realistic shot of finishing third in this group.
Every
आप-
person
आप
watching in the
एक काम
IFP
करो.
fam. The target has been shifted officially.
Yes.
Please do not come at me.
And at number 4, out of pure spite, I'm a hate watcher of the highest order. Hate watcher is my religion. All right. As a United fan, that 1 week of glorious hate watching, I have been through it. So I am going to have Italy finishing bottom of this group. It's not coming Rome. You're going back to Rome. So that is my final standings for Group B. It's Spain
it's safe
first.
to-
Just
It's safe to
anyone
say,
anyone
you
in the
can-
creative team, please clip this. Please clip
Yes,
this for
please
a
clip
later.
this. Yes, because I say this because I say Italy will finish fourth because Italy had a very amazing World Cup 2022. Oh wait, did they?
Oh,
Did they?
You should not just mute the group.
you're
Delwyn.
poking the dragon way
you
too much,
can,
sir.
I love it.
You can already
Bring it
leave
on.
for some
Bring,
time.
bring it on. I love it. Bring it all. I'm all for the smoke. I'm all for the smoke.
Let's go, bhai.
Let's
Yes.
go. Yeah, exactly. All right.
And with that, this has been a brilliant episode. Piyush, Priyanshu, it was amazing talking to you guys to pick your brains on this group of death. I loved the exchange of opinions, the exchange of ideas from you guys, and I hope you'll be a part of these episodes as and when the Euros progress. It's going to be a blast. It was great fun. Thank you to all the guys who are in the chat as well. For all those who are still watching, do not forget to like, share, subscribe. Do press that bell icon so that you're notified for each and every video that comes out of this channel. It's going to be a very busy period. We're going to have a lot of content in store for you as and when we are very close to the Euros. The content will not stop even after the Euro starts. Add to that a little bit of the Copa America flavor, and we're going to bring you that as well. Apart from that, there is a lot of things that we're going to uncover on YouTube and on Instagram as well. So do not forget to give us a follow on our socials. With that being said, this is Priyanshu, Piyush, and myself, Delwyn, wishing all of you a good night. Do take care of yourself, stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you soon on the other side with another episode of Eurovision with Delwyn. Till then, see you.